ignored you for a reason because you're talking crazy. Now, before we end, I want to tell you another story really quick about another gentleman out there named, I don't really know his name. He goes by CryptTalk Podcast. He has a lot of things to say about me. He's got a lot of derogatory things to say about me. And I'm going to tell you why, just in case you run across his videos and you see me on his page. They all on my job. All right. CryptTalk Podcast. Let's go back. It's rewind time. I think I ran across this gentleman's YouTube channel where he was talking about Karatbars. And when he was talking about Karatbars, because this is like the only show that I really fully listened to, like I was listening to this guy. I was like, you know what? He might be all right. If he had like the facts and real information, he could probably turn into a pretty decent podcaster with real facts and information. All right. So I hit him up. I was like, man, we got to talk, hit me up or something. You know what I'm saying? The guy never hit me up. He never contacted me, right? Instead, he chose to start going on my YouTube channel, on this channel, and start making comments, crazy comments. And so I checked him one time in one of his comments, and I guess his feelings are hurt, and his feelings been hurt ever since. So he's made it a vendetta to try to embarrass me, try to discredit me. But what they're really doing, every time they do something like this, they're making us look like we got all the sense, and they crazy. I look at the comments sometimes on their channel and people are saying, man, you guys are nuts. Whatever you're trying to do, you just need to stop it. Ignored you for a reason.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. And that is rich. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to break down what he was actually saying there and let you know why it went down the way that it did. Of course, you can't believe anything that these Karatbar GSB, mind-based, free-bay, Ponzi scheme fluffers say. You can't believe nothing they say. But I'm going to take y'all back. This is going to probably be a pretty long video. I want to get the awareness out of some things that are going down with GSPARTNERS. I want to give a chance for those who followed CryptTalk Podcast before it was taken down by GSP. I want to give y'all a chance to be able to find this channel, as I know some of you already have, because hopefully there'll be some remedies in the outcome of what happened. But there are going to be ways for y'all to apply pressure. Shout out to Ponzi Patrol. He's very good at exposing these scammers. He has a very good channel. Y'all should check that out. So in this video, what I plan on doing, I'm going to go through some of the things that are happening and have been reported about GSP being ordered to pay back their investors. And this is something that I said is going to be happening. I said this for like 5 years. I'm also going to go throwback style. I'm going to throw back because, some of y'all know that GSP had my channel taken down, my original YouTube channel taken down. But because I had it archived on Odysee, which is a different platform that basically clones your YouTube channel for you, I still have all the videos going back years. And I'm going to pop through a few of them and just show you some of the stuff I've been saying. And the link should be in the description, so y'all can actually check out the channel yourself. You can see if I've been accurate. You can see my resume. You can see the things that me and 24 Karat Chris and Chris Trade and Louis Neal and John Walsh and ex-affiliates and the editor of Handelsblatt, which is basically like the Wall Street Journal of Germany. You're going to see a lot of evidence, a lot of different things that I've put together over the years, showing you why Karatbars is a scam, showing you why. And I have to mention Karatbars for some of you who don't know. If you're newer to the Gold Standard Bank, Gold Standard Partners, you may not know its affiliation with Karatbars, or basically splinted from Karatbars. So that's why when I say Karatbars, I'm saying that synonymously with GSP and all of the scams that came under Harold Seiss and what's his name, Joseph Haidt. So I'm gonna show you some throwbacks. And I'm doing this in preparation for when I bring back a few of the original CryptTalk Nation contributors that was warning you about Karatbars, Freebay, GSPARTNERS, Harold Seiss, Joseph Haidt, Mike Dalco. We're going to go through the gamut on this one because this is a long time coming, and now we are vindicated, whatever the word is. You know what I'm saying? Now it's undeniable that we were 100% correct in what we said years ago and that this day would come. And everyone who came against us were either ignorant. That's the best case scenario. They really didn't know, which means that, of course, since some of them are still trying to shield different crypto schemes, well, if they missed all the red flags that was shown, then you probably shouldn't trust them on getting advice from investments today. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is they knew what they were doing and they purposefully were deceitful in order to illegally get your money. And the latter is what I believe the vast majority of these operators are. So we're going to do all that. So we're trying to get the awareness up. So make sure y'all like this. So it'll help the algorithms. Make sure that you comment, just do everything, share it, let others know, because hopefully we can get some remedies for what happened. Now, before I get into the articles, I'm going to replay that video we just saw again. Where we at? Hold up. Nope, that's not it. Where is it at? Let me find it first. Bear with me, y'all. I don't know what happened to it. That's all right. We got it right here. We got it right here.
For a reason.
All right, here we
because
go.
you talk.
Make sure everything's good. All right, we're good. So I'm going to replay that video. I'm just going to kind of break down a little bit. Then we're going to get into these articles. Then I'll take you for another blast in the past so we could go over some of the things that I've been saying. All right, so here we go. Let's get this Lucky Rico's in the building. This is a video that he made years ago after becoming aware of my YouTube channel, in which I was exposing carrot bars. So let me matter of fact, let me break it down and take you to the beginning of my experience with carrot bars. So my experience with carrot bars in a nutshell is this. I got a Facebook message from someone who, I don't know, I guess they were involved in carrot bars and they were an affiliate. And it was a video, and I watched the video, and the video was kind of intriguing, right? This is like when I first started kind of getting familiar with Bitcoin and blockchain and crypto, but I wasn't well versed on it. I just knew the concepts and some of the buzzwords, and I knew that it was something that was gaining popularity. This was around 2018, 2019. So I watched this video, and the video was talking about how gold is the best way to save your money, and it hedges against inflation and all that good stuff, which is true. And then it started going into carrot bars, who was a gold distributor. They were like a middleman for selling gold. And it went into how they're going to come out with a cryptocurrency and back it by gold. And they had two different cryptocurrencies, the KBC and the KCB. And they claimed that they were going to merge them into one, back them by gold, and then open up a bank in a few months, a crypto bank. So understand, coming from someone who didn't really know too much about crypto at the time, it sounded very lucrative potentially, because I'm thinking like Bitcoin at the time was probably about 7,000-8,000. It's not backed by gold. So if this cryptocurrency is going to be backed by gold and then they're going to open a bank, I'm thinking, holy wow, this crypto's got to go crazy with those kind of things happening. I'm not understanding, saying some of the principles of why Bitcoin is doing what it's doing. I didn't understand tokenomics. I didn't understand, market cap, anything like that. I just figured if Bitcoin is worth 7,000-8,000, why wouldn't this gold-backed crypto to come be worth at least 1,000? And at the time, it was only like 12 cents. So I'm thinking, wow, if I can get a few thousands of these, tens of thousands of these, I will literally be a millionaire. This is what I was thinking, right? So, and I also didn't understand that we're talking about crypto. Why do you need a bank for crypto? Like, what would a bank, why would you need a brick and mortar bank for crypto? What are you going to deposit your crypto in the brick and mortar bank? Are you going to withdraw your crypto from that bank? Like, it's not logistical. It's not sensible. I didn't understand this though, right? So what I did was I wanted to get my hands, hopefully y'all can hear me good. Hold on, let me make sure. So I wanted to get my hands on as much. Okay, let me turn it down. I'm just making sure it's good. So I wanted to get my hands on as much of that KBC, KCB coin as possible because I was certain that that was going to be the lick. So in order to get a hold of it, I had to sign up to be an affiliate with Bars. So I had to go through the KYC to verify my information and all that. So I filled out, all the information because my intention was, because I couldn't just buy it. I didn't know about like decentralized exchanges or how to work those kind of things at the time. And the real only way that you can get one of their coins was you had to be an affiliate. And what they would do is you buy an affiliate package for a few $100. They'll give you equal amount of that coin. Plus they'd give you the package and you can go on affiliate and sign other people up. I wasn't really interested in the signing people up and being a network marketer for them. I just wanted those coins because I was certain those coins that were like 12 cents at the time were going to definitely probably go to at least a couple hundred or 1,000 because Bitcoin was worth like 7,000, 8,000 and this coin was going to be backed by gold. So why wouldn't it? So what happened is, I filled out all the stuff for my KYC, my know your customer, so I could be approved and I can get those coins. What happened is they took so long. They took like a couple months, maybe, or more, before they verified my KYC. So in the meantime, if you watch CryptTalk podcast, and I'll show you in a minute. So in the meantime, as I was waiting for my KYC to be verified, I just started studying about crypto. I started studying mostly about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And by doing that, I learned more about blockchain technology. I learned more about economics. I learned more about decentralized finance. I just started educating myself to the point to where by the time they verified my KYC, all the things they were saying just didn't make sense. I didn't necessarily think they were a scam at that time. I just knew what they said didn't make sense. The math wasn't mathing. It was nonsensical at that point to me. So I just kind of fell back. And I started reporting on crypto stories. Matter of fact, Bars was like my 17th video I did when I started CryptTalk podcast. So I just realized it didn't make sense. So I just wasn't interested in it. So this is why I say, like, the more you learn about crypto, the easier it will be to identify scams because things just won't make sense. Don't get me wrong. Most crypto is trash, but that doesn't mean it's a scam. So I made a video where I was just asking questions. I was going over some of the videos of Harold Seiss and when they were saying they're doing their bank grand opening, and it just looks sus to me. To me, it looks sus. I was like, that's not a bank. It just seemed like cap. It was 100% cap, and it didn't make sense. So I made a video where I was just asking questions, and I was hoping that people from Bars would comment on my video and let me know what they think if they're seeing what I'm seeing. And that's what happened. I think that's when 24 Karat Chris and John Walsh and others started tapping into my channel, and they felt the same way I did. So we started conversing a little bit. John Walsh did a video with me. He was supposed to actually debate one of the top brass of Bars, but they pulled out last minute. But they would all be on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube talking a bunch of shit about us. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just scared of making money. We're just trying to slander the company. Blah, 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 blah. Well, one of the people that actually responded on that video was Lucky Rico. Where's Lucky Rico, dude? There we go. So one of the people that actually responded was Lucky Rico. So now I'm going to play that. I'm just giving you that context. So now I'm going to break down what he is saying before we get into these stories, and then we'll jump back to some throwback vintage CryptTalk podcast, right?
Ignored you for a reason because you're talking crazy. Now, before we end, I want to tell you another story really quick about another gentleman out there named, I don't really know his name. He goes by CryptTalk podcast. He has a lot of things to say about me. He's got a lot of derogatory things to say about me.
And listen, I guess it's fair to say I was saying some derogatory things. I kind of came in hot, honestly. I was pretty raw. Hopefully I could be more refined now, but I was pretty raw. I didn't really care about calling these guys maggots and cockroaches because that's just what they were to me. I was disgusted in what they were doing and how they were doing it. how obviously, blatantly they were shilling for what I thought was an obvious crypto scam. And remember, at this time, I was still new to crypto. I was relatively new. Now, I've read some books. I studied it. That's how I came to the conclusion that Carrot Bars just doesn't make sense. It wasn't feasible. I didn't necessarily think it was a scam at first. I just thought it was a bad idea that didn't make sense in the context of what blockchain technology really is. Right. So did I use degrading vulgar language towards him and some of the Carrot Bar fluffers? Yes, I did.
I'm gonna tell you why, just in case you run across his videos and you see me on his page. They all on my job. All right. CryptTalk podcast. Let's go back. Let's rewind time. I think I ran across this gentleman's YouTube channel where he was talking about Carrot Bars. And when he was talking about Carrot Bars, because this is like the only show that I really fully listened to, like the first, I was listening to this guy. I was like, you know what? He might be all right. If he had like the facts and real information, he could probably turn into a pretty decent podcaster with real facts and information.
Okay. He said, if I had the real facts and information, I might be a decent podcaster. Now, I know my channel was called CryptTalk Podcast, but I wasn't really a podcaster as much as a YouTube channel, which I am now. But he said, if I had the facts, I might be all right. That's what you said, Lucky Rico. Well, looks like I have the facts because according to Coindesk, 5 U.S. states reached settlement with GSPARTNERS investors to get full refund. So obviously what I was saying is now backed by the SEC and other regulators because GSP reached a settlement. That means they actually agreed. We'll get into this article in a minute. Hold up. But that means that GSPARTNERS agreed to give investors full refunds. Will that happen or not is to be determined, but they agreed, which means that they had to acknowledge that they did something that was in violation to the law, regulations, or policies in regards to being an investment tool or being a crypto company or all the shenanigans that they ran on the people. Obviously came to a halt. This is just from a few days ago. This is from the 9th. Like I said, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's get back to Lucky Rico. Let's get back to the fluffy Rico real quick. Here we go. So obviously the facts are on my side. That's the only point I was making.
Ignored you for a reason because you're talking crazy. Now, before we end, I want to tell you another story really quick about another gentleman out there named, I don't really know his name. He goes by CryptTalk Podcast. He has a lot of things to say about me. He's got a lot of derogatory things to say about me. And I'm going to tell you why, just in case you run across his videos and you see me on his page. They all on my job. All right. CryptTalk Podcast. Let's go back. Let's rewind time. I think I ran across this gentleman's YouTube channel where he was talking about Carrot Bars. And when he was talking about Carrot Bars, because this is like the only show that I really fully listened to, like the first, I was listening to this guy. I was like, you know what? He might be all right. If he had like the facts and real information, he could probably turn into a pretty decent podcaster with real facts and information.
Well, we just determined I did have real facts and information, but let's continue.
All right. So I hit him up. I was like, man, we got to talk, hit me up or something. You know what I'm saying? The guy never hit me up. He never contacted me. Right. Instead, he chose to start going on my YouTube channel, on this channel, and start making comments, crazy comments. And so I checked him one time in one of his comments, and I guess his feelings are hurt, and his feelings been hurt ever since. So
that's hilarious. That is hilarious. That is hot. That's next level cappery right there. My feelings were hurt. No. The reason why I never responded to what Lucky Rico put in the comment section of my video was because, to sum it up, what he was trying to do was to shut me up and get me on board and get me to come under him. That's basically what his message was implying. That he pretty much, that's what I got out of the message. I'm pretty good with instincts, pretty good with reading people's intentions. And I determined that from his comment, it sounded like he was trying to shut me up and or recruit me. And there were other comments that were doing the same, including the person who brought me into Carrot Bars. Hey, you need to wait till the facts come out. No, bro. Hey, listen up, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, nah, I see what you're doing. So I didn't really have any conversation for him after that. And when I did reach out to him, like, I was like, hey, you can come on the, you know, once you come on my channel and tell the people why I'm wrong or what the real benefit is. And, you know, like, let's have a discussion. Let's have a mature discussion. And I've actually reached that olive branch out to several Carrot Bars affiliates at the time. None of them took it up. They didn't mind making videos about me, several of them. They didn't mind being on Twitter talking trash about me. They didn't mind being on Facebook doing the same, and other like Discord, Telegram, and other channels that I didn't really even get into. But they never wanted to come through and really say what their case was and answer some tough questions. A lot of them really, like me at one point, didn't really know too much about crypto. That was pretty evident. So I'll say that some of them were ignorant, but most of them, I think, did know what was going on. So yeah, when he hit me up on my channel, the reason why I never got back to him was because I determined that all he was trying to do was recruit me, and I wasn't with it.
So he's made it a vendetta to try to embarrass me, try to discredit me. But what they're really doing, every time they do something like this, they're making us look like we got all the sense, and they crazy. I look at the comments sometimes on their channel, and people are saying, man, you guys are nuts. Whatever you're trying to do, you just need to stop it.
Yeah. So anyway, as you could tell, this did not age very well, right?
Ignored you for a reason.
So now let me go ahead and get to the story. So that didn't age very well. Make sure everybody that's in here, make sure you hit the likes, fill the comments up, do all that good stuff to help the algorithm so other people who need to see this information will see it. Like I said, this video is just in preparation for what is to come, when I am going to have a panel and people that will come to the channel that have been exposing Ponzi schemes and crypto scams and whatnot, and some of the original CryptTalk Nation contributors. We're going to get into some of the details, a lot of the things that's been happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to make a series of videos just to build up the momentum and hopefully get people to tap back in. Those who were part of, you know, who subscribed to CryptTalk podcast before, who, you know, haven't yet found this channel. I want to get all y'all back in the game because, like I said, there is some things that may be a remedy. They have been ordered to pay. There is a way, if your state isn't mentioned in this paperwork, that you can get your state mentioned. We're going to get to that. But let's go ahead and get to, I'm going to use Behind MLM as my first source because they have been on code and on board in support of the CryptTalk podcast since the beginning. So we're going to use the first article from Behind MLM. It says GSPARTNERS settles security fraud, U.S. investor refunds. So they settled security frauds. That means they had to acknowledge at some level that there was security fraud going on. GSB Group and owner Joseph Haidt had settled allegations pertaining to their fraudulent GSPARTNERS investment scheme. As part of the settlement reached with state securities regulators in Texas, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, and Georgia. Like I said, if you reside outside of that state or in Mexico or Canada, you can get yourself involved and be included in this. Okay. And I'm going to put that link in the description. I'm sorry I didn't already do it, actually. Let's see. The GSPARTNERS fraud settlement with the U.S. regulators is broken down into two phases. The first phase will see GSPARTNERS U.S. investors refunded, handled by third-party AlixPartners LP. The Texas State Securities Board cites AlixPartners as a firm consisting of more than 3,000 experienced personnel drawn from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, Internal Revenue Service, IRS, Securities and Exchange Commissions, and other public and private organizations. GSB Group and Haidt will be footing the bill to cover all of AlixPartners LP's expenses. So they're not only going to have to pay the people back, they're going to also have to pay for those who are organizing and doing the legwork to make this thing pop off. In fact, they should be paying me. I think they owe me a few $100,000, and I will accept Bitcoin. So GSPARTNERS investors in the settling states will be able to claim losses pertaining to all the GSPARTNERS failed investment schemes This includes the G999 token, which I've told you about several times. I told you it's a pump and dump. I told you it's a scam coin. I showed you the pumps. I showed you the shenanigans behind it. I showed you the fact that, like the KBC coin, one wallet owns 90% of it, and all they do is dump it as soon as enough people buy in. But anyway, the XLT vouchers and the meta portfolio certificates. The terms of the settlement permit other states to join under the reach terms if they wish. Like I said, I will be putting a link in. We will be going over that, because if your state wasn't just named, if it wasn't one of those 5 states, you still can be involved in this. This is extended to Canadian regulators who also filed multiple fraud warnings against GSP and Joseph Haidt. And that's him on the right. Okay. Following the execution of the term sheet, the Texas State Securities Board and other participating states will begin notifying clients and coordinating with Alex partners. In the near future, participant states will announce the date that clients can begin taking steps to participate in the claims process. A copy of the GS Partners settlement term sheet is available on the TSSB's website. The TSSB strongly encourages GSP Partners victims to contact them with respect to beginning preparations. If you live in Texas and you've purchased any product or service from GS Partners, please reach out to us as soon as possible. We can help you. We can help you begin preparing for the claims process, said financial examiner Seth Unak. Okay. It's assumed that the same applies for other states GS Partners has settled with. The second phase of the GS Partners fraud settlement kicks in once victim claims have been finalized. And of course, assuming Haidt pays up. That's the caveat. GSP Group and Mr. Haidt will consent to an entry of an enforcement order that concludes they illegally offered and or sold securities that were not registered pursuant to state law. The pending enforcement order is likely to include an injunction permanently permitting further securities law violations by GSP Group and Haidt in the settling U.S. states. Now let me say this, man, because I've said this before. And I got to say this because people like Lucky Rico was claiming I was just hating. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just hating. I was crazy. Tried to gaslight me and everything, right? But here's something else that I made clear plenty of times over the years when I would do my videos. Being familiar with OneCoin and other scams that have been taken down in the crypto realm, what I've noticed is the top brass never go to jail. Typically, they have enough resources to avoid that or move around and get somewhere where, they don't have to worry about being extradited or arrested. The ones that typically go to jail, especially in the OneCoin, the ones that went to jail were the promoters, the YouTubers, the affiliate marketers, the Lucky Ricos, if you will, the Mike Dowcos, the John Johnson. They were the ones that go to jail. And in past crypto schemes, the one disproportionately who did the jail time were the ones that were fluffing and marketing and signing up people under them. They're the ones that ended up going to jail. So this is what I was trying to tell, like, the Lucky Ricos who were hating on me. Like, look, man, like, you guys are fluffing for these East European scammers. They're not the ones that's going to probably go to jail for this kind of thing. It's going to be y'all. And unfortunately, I think most likely there will be federal indictments preceding this, especially if GSB does not pay up. It's going to turn criminal instead of just civil. And they already have those on the radar that have been pumping these scams because they put it all over the internet. And no matter what, it can be recovered even if you think you've deleted it. So all the fluffers run the risk. Now, here's something else I'll say. Let me say this. For those of you, I'm going to reach out an olive branch for those who, I may have had beef with in the past. Because there is a clause within this settlement that if people come and speak up and tell their stories, but like, you know, if you truly didn't know and you want to tell your story, you can do that without having to worry about repercussions like lawsuits against you. That is part of this settlement. So I encourage you to do that. If you want to do that, hit me up. CryptTalkPodcast@gmail.com. All right. So TSSB also notes the pending consent order does not apply to prior fraud allegations against respondents Swiss Vorcom Bank Ltd, Dirk Zalman, Bruce Inns, Wild Hughes, and Aline Lima. In a September 10th paywalled article covering the GSP group fraud settlement, Bloomberg cites GS Partners as a $1 billion illegal cryptocurrency investment scheme. $1 billion. GS Partners US claims are expected to run into hundreds of millions of dollars. Several federal investigations into GS Partners and Joseph Haidt remain active. It's likely GSP Group and Haidt admitting to fraud will be cited in any pending federal, civil, and or criminal fraud charges. I have not read this already. Just to let you know, I haven't read any of these articles. I just skimmed the headlines. These were actually sent to me. Let me see. For GS Partner victims in Texas, instructions have been provided by the TSSB. For GS Partners victims in Georgia, instructions have been provided in provided the Secretary of State. For GSP Partners in Alabama, instructions have been provided by the Alabama Securities Commission. I'll link the instructions provided by the other settling states and or Canadian Providence as they are made available. If you're a GS Partner victim outside of the settling states and Canadian Providence, contact your state's securities regulator for guidance. If you're in the U.S., filing an inquiry with the SEC and or the CFTC at the federal level may also be of benefit. So there's that. Right? There's some of the comments, as you can see. So there's that. Maybe I'll go and link all of these articles in. Right? So that's behind MLM. It's from September 10th. Okay, so they may be biased, right? Their page, their publication, which I've also donated to, they're dedicated to exposing these fraudsters, and Carrot Bars GSP has been on the radar. You might call them biased, right? So we're gonna go ahead and go through a different source, just to be fair. Now this is Coindesk. Coindesk, basically, what they do is they share the news and information of what's going on in the cryptocurrency world. Non-biasedly, they just share the information that they have procured, right? So here we go. 5 U.S. states reach settlements with GS Partners investors to get full refunds. The Texas State Securities Board spearheaded an investigation and subsequent settlement with GS Partners and its owner, Joseph Haidt. So Joseph Haidt, as I've showed you plenty of times, was also part of Carrot Bars. This is why I don't separate Carrot Bars from Gold Standard Partners or any of the different off-branch schemes that they've came out with, because Carrot Bars was created, marketed, promoted by Joseph Haidt and Harold Seiss. Now the rumor is they had a fallout, and Joseph Haidt, took his Gold Standard Bank, which was part of Carrot Bars, and did his own thing with it. But at the end of the day, what really happened is Carrot Bars, they fell similar to how you're seeing GSP fell. They fell the same way. They fell the same way. And when they fell, what they did is they pivoted to GS Partners, and then they played scapegoat games with, Joseph, Harold Seiss, and there was somebody else, man, I forgot his name. But anyway, so it's all the same, is what I'm saying. 5 U.S. states have reached a settlement agreement with GS Partners, the European operation behind several crypto investment schemes, including tokenized investments in a Dubai skyscraper. You guys remember that? Some of you may be watching this live don't remember that, but some of you who will watch this and are familiar with CryptTalk Podcast, then you know that I told you that they're not tokenizing the J1 building in Dubai. I told you it was almost an impossibility for them to do that. They would have to own the building, number one. It would have to be legally viable in Dubai, number two. And I don't think either of those things are true. And I told you that was just a big scheme. That was a big marketing ploy, a rollout that they used to pump up their G999 coin. And it's not a coincidence that the same weekend they had their event in Dubai when they were promoting the idea that you can buy square inches of real estate, I think it was, or maybe it was square feet in this building. And they never really told you how you would get paid when they tokenized the building, which would have been an easy thing to do. It would have been easily explainable for someone who understood crypto, even though it was a scam and it wasn't going to happen. They could have easily explained how you would get revenue from having tokenized ownership in the building, but they couldn't even articulate that because their crypto knowledge is that low. But I told you, I was like, no, that's not going to happen. They're not tokenizing anything. And then reports came out that they had to change the name of their token because they tried to have a J1 coin. And the people who own the building are like, no, you can't do that. Right. But anyway, during that time, during that whole run of shenanigans where they actually had some type of big event in Dubai, the G999 went from like a quarter of a cent all the way up to 5 cents. Because they had so many people interested in buying it. They had celebrity pitchmen, and they had Mayweather taking pictures with the GSPARTNERS Lydian World shirt. And you know that these celebrities, they'll do anything for the money. A lot of them don't know about crypto. You know damn well Floyd Mayweather, as great as a boxer as he is, as great as a businessman as he is, he'll pitch anything, and he doesn't know shit about crypto. He was trying to promote Ethereum Max years ago. Got sued for that, by the way, because Ethereum Max was a Ponzi scheme, was a crypto scam. Anyway, so the coin went up to 5 cents, and I documented this on CryptTalk podcast, and it stayed there for about 30 minutes to an hour before all those profits were liquidated, because the vast majority of ownership in the G999 token was owned by one person who I would speculate was probably Joseph Haidt. So when all you guys put your money in it to pump that coin by, what is that, 5,000%, 1,000, whatever it was. Well, that was crazy. 500%, 1,000%, something, whatever it was. It pumped up from a quarter of a penny to 5 cents. So that's 4 times 5. Is that 20x maybe? So when it made that big, huge gains, no one profited from that except the ones with the means to liquidate it. Because remember, when people tried to pull out of the G999, they weren't able to. They would get all kind of messages and flagging them from being able to pull out their profits anytime G999 was up. Because even though it was a decentralized exchange, it wasn't really that decentralized. Their exchange was controlled and operated by them. It was actually a centralized DEX, if that makes sense. Like they could stop you from, accessing your funds. And that's exactly what they did. Similar to how Robinhood did that when everybody was making that money on the AMC and the GameStop. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. So, the exact size of the alleged scheme is unknown, but the operation itself claimed to have done $1 billion in sales as of last September, 1 month before the collection of state securities regulators spearheaded by Texas began investigating the GSPARTNERS owner, Joseph Haidt, and his company starting in mid-November. Regulators in 10 states and 1 Canadian province filed enforcement actions against Haidt and his companies, alleging fraud and ordering them to immediately cease and desist selling securities. Now, of course, for those who are familiar with CryptTalk podcast, 24 Karat Chris and whatnot, then you know that I've shown you since Carrot Bars at least a half a dozen countries that ordered them to not do business in their country. We're talking about some of the biggest markets, including the market in where they were created, Germany. I showed you you got all these countries that are flagging Carrot Bars and GSPARTNERS, telling you they can't do business here. So that should have told people 2 things, actually. It should have told you, 1, that they're not legit. They're not registered. They're not even handling the business to make sure that they can legally operate, which will be a detriment to an investor even if they were legit, that would be a detriment, because if they can't do business in these large economic markets, how can you really expect this coin is going to elevate in price? When they're telling you that one of their coins is going to be worth $1,000, and they literally said that about GSB. When they're telling you it has more liquidity or more utility than Ethereum and Bitcoin, but they can't even do business in a dozen countries, including the US, as you can now see, how would their coin get enough momentum to really pop off? And when it didn't pop off last bull cycle, that should have been a sign. Because if they say they have the best payment platform and they have all this DeFi stuff going, this payment ramp and all these things that they're doing, then in order for them to be legitimate and actually have a chance, they'd have to have two things. They have to have some type of exposure on a centralized exchange, which means that they'd have to be vetted. And they would have to hope that institutional investors would tap in and use their platform, or at the very least, feel enough confidence in their coin that they would buy it to the point to where they would put a lot of money into the market cap. The problem with that is, if you can't operate in dozens of countries around the world, if you're flagged by economic regulators in several countries, well, what financial institution is going to go with a crypto that is flagged by government regulators? How can that happen? How can it happen if, in order to get exposure, you have to be part of their multi-level marketing network? And let me tell you about multi-level marketing and crypto. Never, and I mean never, has it been successful. You can't name not one crypto / multi-level marketing project that has been successful, and the vast majority have been outed as scams. And the ones that haven't, tick, 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 tick. In a matter of time, they will. GSPARTNERS is now defunct, is now a defunct multi-level marketing scheme that used a network of promoters and celebrity spokespeople, including former professionals. I swear I didn't read this, you guys. I didn't read ahead. It's just that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been doing this for a minute. So we know what the drill is. I know what the drill is. GSPARTNERS is now a defunct multi-level marketing scheme that used a network of promoters and celebrity spokespeople, including former professional boxer Floyd Mayweather, to sell would-be investors on a variety of crypto-related investments, promising lucrative returns. And understand this: we are now in the midst of an impending bull run, according to historical patterns. Meaning that typically about a year and a half after the halving, you usually see a peak in crypto prices. And we just had the halving in April, which is what, 5 months ago? 4 to 9, yeah. Right? So we still have about a good year before we could likely expect, if history repeats itself as it has every other halving, we have about a year before we see a peak in crypto prices, meaning you still have a year to stack up your Bitcoin or whatever you believe in. Just make sure it's not a multi-level marketing scheme, and look for things that have utility, that have partnerships and development being made. I would say don't even do anything outside of Bitcoin until you understand Bitcoin. Then from there, you could assess other opportunities. That's if you want to play the speculative game in the first place. But it means that one would have a decent amount of time, those who understand crypto, to stack up on some things. It also means, unfortunately, that there will be a slew of new crypto scams that will be presented to fool those who don't really know about crypto. Remember, when I was first sold on Karatbars, I didn't know much about crypto. That's why it made sense until it didn't. Once I started learning about it, it didn't make sense anymore. So new people are more susceptible to fall for these schemes. And they're going to use buzzwords like DeFi, smart contract, DApp. They're going to use different buzzwords that you probably won't understand fully the context of. Decentralized. blockchain to recruit people who aren't really versed on crypto. And then they're going to tell you, sign up people under you and blah, 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 blah. You're going to see a slew, and they're getting more and more sophisticated. These scams are getting more sophisticated, and they will at this time. You'll see more of them come out because they understand this is a bull cycle. But what they're going to do is they're going to get you to buy their scam coins, and then they're going to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. You know what I'm saying? So it's fugazi, to say the least. Anyway, these investments include plots of virtual land and staking in a staking pool in the erstwhile Lydian world metaverse, a purportedly gold-backed crypto token, and vouchers allegedly representing tokenized shares of a skyscraper in Dubai. That is the J1 building that they were selling people on. See, these things sound good, right? Like if you can own tokenized shares, and tokenization is a real thing, by the way. And if you can own tokenized shares in the J1 building in Dubai, oh, that sounds like that's going to be lucrative. That's going to be lucrative. Oh, God. Sounds good. That's that popo right there. Promise of payout. That's a CryptTalk original, by the way. Promise of payout. Popo. Get backed by gold. Oh my God. Now here's the thing about that. They never proved that they owned any gold. In fact, we proved they didn't own gold. Not only that, the numbers, and I said this way back during the KBC days of Carrot Bars, that it's impossible that they are backed by gold. Because if they were backed by gold, if they truly had the gold corresponding with their crypto, there would be a floor value that coin would never go below, according to the price of gold. Not only that, there are real gold-backed cryptos in existence right now. There are real tokenized ounces that you can purchase from Perth Mint and from Pax Gold. And they actually hold it in a verifiable storage. And if you want the physical product, they'll send it to you. Now, I can get into the fact that gold, as good as an investment as it is, it's not touching Bitcoin and other digital assets. But I'm just saying, like, for those gold-backed, you want gold-backed crypto, they already really exist. And GSPARTNERS and Carrot Bars, they never owned any gold to back the crypto with, nor did they ever back the crypto with any gold. Nor did they actually have a chance for you to, just common sense to let you know, man. These are the same guys who told you that they had a deal. They had a partnership with SpaceX. They said that they had a partnership with the Vatican. Let's be real. Investors were allegedly told that the vouchers, each representing 1 square inch, so it was a square inch, not even a square foot, of the 36-floor tower described as a glorious skyscraper inspired by the winds of the desert and radiates majesty as it shines under the burning sun. Listen, they did have pretty good advertising. I'm not going to lie. When they made commercials for their failing products, they were good at that. They were good at marketing. If nothing else, their salesmanship and marketing, it was almost flawless, unless you understood the nuances of crypto and blockchain. When GSPARTNERS failed to reach their goal of 175 million in sales, the value of the vouchers plummeted to nearly zero. That's another thing. It's another point I want to make. And this is a point that I made for years. If you own any of the cryptos, the KBC, the KCB, the Univols, the V999, the G999, Mindbase, if you owned any of the coins that came out of the development of Carrot Bar / Gold Standard Bank, you haven't made any money off those coins. You've only lost money. Be real. Be real. You don't have to admit it to me because I know you might be too embarrassed to do that, but admit it to yourself because you know. None of those coins made money, even during the biggest bull cycle in history, which was just a few years ago. They didn't even make money during that. Listen, no coin almost lost money during the bull cycle. None. It varied how much they made. And of course, when when you're exiting, when you exit the coin, all that's variable. Now, if you used to follow CryptTalk podcast, you know that I would show you stories. I never told you what to invest in. I told you to study Bitcoin, because in that you would understand blockchain, you'd understand tokenomics, you'd understand DeFi, you'd understand decentralization, you'd understand everything you did to, number one, be able to detect likely frauds, and two, to be able to assess other coins for their value, and if you wanted to invest in those. But I didn't tell you to invest in anything. What I did do is I showed you what some of these crypto blockchain companies were doing, some of the partnerships that were going on globally, some of the developments, some of the things that they were doing that pertains to the real world. I showed you that. And all the coins that I showed you for that all made money during the bull run of 2020, 2021. All of them. Every single last one of them. Digibytes, Chainlink, Tezos, Ethereum, Bitcoin, of course. What other ones made money? What else was around, man? Can't even think of them all. But they all made money. Even XRP had a little bit of pump, even though they were going through what they were going through with the what was the SEC. So, it is what it is. Let me see where we at. As part of the settlement agreement, Texas, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, and Georgia has reached out to Hite and his companies. All civil claims against GS Partners have been settled and investigations dropped. And in exchange, GS Partners will refund 100% of the investments made by clients in settling states. So they made a deal civilly, civic court, to repay everybody to avoid criminal court. Joe Rotunda, enforcement director at the Texas State Securities Board, told Coindesk, so they have actually had correspondence, that getting customers their money back was a priority for his agency. You know what? Let me go ahead and pop my collar a little bit, man. Let me go ahead and do a little bit I told you so / let me rightfully toot my own horn a little bit, man. And everybody else that was supportive to CryptTalk Podcast and CryptTalk Nation. All the nationals from CryptTalk, from all over the globe, who supported the CryptTalk Podcast channel before it was shut down by GSP. All the people that came on and contributed to it. All the people who shared, all the people who gave me information, all the people who allowed me to interview them so that, the experts in different situations that were able to break down the things that I was saying and what they were doing. Pat yourself on the back, because this would not have happened without you. It would not have happened without you. We were just a ragtag bunch of small YouTube channels and just real life participants and people who have been scammed themselves, who seen what was going on, and we made some noise about it, and it took some time, but here we are now. You deserve applause for that. And something that I've said and Chris have said from the beginning is we have to protect the integrity of the crypto market. It's plagued with schemes. I'm not talking about the pump and dump coins that are not schemes. They're just very volatile and very risky. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the purposeful rug pulls. The ones that get you in their network, and then they don't allow you to take out. See, if you invest in a Shiba Inu or a Dogecoin, those are pump and dumps. They have no utility. But you can exit in and out at your leisure. So if you buy the top, that's your bad. If you buy it early because you know about it early and you get out when it peaks, you can make money. You can't do that with these Ponzi scheme MLM scams, because they will restrict you from accessing your money. There's a difference. It's just a matter of priority. Our priority was getting recovery for clients. Rotunda said, the idea of taking their assets and sending them to the state as a monetary penalty really just makes my stomach turn. So we are happy to waive the allegations of fraud if that means the opportunity to get back 100% of clients' deposits. So what they said is they made a deal. What they're saying is they basically struck a deal with GS Partners to say, hey, look, we don't want to go through the rigmarole of a criminal investigation and trial and everything that goes on along with that. if you just want to give the people their money back, you can just do a solid and return what you illegally took. And we could just avoid. That's a pretty sweet deal for people who deserve to be in prison for the rest of their life. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried did not do what these guys did. And I'm not sticking up for Sam Bankman-Fried. But what I am saying, as I've said before, he didn't do anything that every bank and every crypto exchange doesn't do. He didn't do anything outside the normal operations of your bank. Honestly, for real. Yes, he took some of the money, the depositors' money, he invested in other things. He even took some for his own leisure, of course. But no bank has all of your money. No crypto exchange really has all of their money. If everybody at your bank that you bank at right now said, we want our money back, the bank would be insolvent. They would collapse. They would go bankrupt. They could not withstand even 20% of people closing their accounts, maybe 10. In some rare cases, maybe 20 to 50%. But in most cases, they couldn't even absorb a 15% bank run because they don't have your money. So I'm not saying what Sam Bankman-Fried did is right. I'm just saying that when Signature Bank, and what was the other, Silicon Valley Bank and Republic Bank that just closed, that just shut down within the last couple of years, none of them went to jail. They didn't have the money either. They invested in other things as well. So I'm just saying that's not the same as what these guys did. In a press release issued by his lawyers, a white shoe law firm Quinn Emanuel on Monday, Haidt said he welcomed the settlement, adding, "We are committed to refunding all eligible customers through the claims process. Our customers always come first, protecting our brand and reputation, and our customer is our top priority. I would like to meet someone who actually believes that." Matter of fact, I don't even want to meet somebody who believes that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to disrespect you, but I'm just going to say I don't want to meet someone who actually still believes that. If all the evidence that you've seen and what's going down, you really believe that he didn't intend on deceiving you out of your money, then you will probably fall for something else in the near future. I'm sorry. And so I guess there just has to be suckers. Don't be a sucker. In Texas, even if we really push for the case to be accelerated on a docket in our legal system, we probably wouldn't even get to the point where we're presenting evidence in court by the time the clients would have received a return of assets. So they're saying that hopefully, I guess they're hopeful that, this will all be avoided simply by Joseph Haidt doing the right thing. I'm just saying I don't have that much confidence in anything Carrot Bars GSP related. Shout out to everybody that's watching, man. Make sure you like. That's going to help the algorithms out. See, Amberosa Buds. Just so everyone knows, I tried calling Lucky Rico recently and he didn't answer. Or do you know Lucky Rico? Were you part of his network or anything like that? I'd love to have people come up here, man. I'll even send the link. I'll even put the link in the chat. If you have some information or, that you could lend to this. Like I said before, if you weren't here, part of this settlement also allows for those who were affiliates at one point to be able to tell their story without risk of being sued by Joseph Haidt or Gold Standard Partners. So that is part of this agreement. So if, you have some inside information, if you were involved as an affiliate or whatnot, you can share your story without worrying about being, sued, like what happened to a lot of us in the CryptTalk Nation, including, I didn't get sued. They just took my channel down. But we're going to get into some of those videos because I still have it archived on Odysee. But I just want people to know that. I want to get this message out. There is a possible way for remedy. Now, here's how it's going to go. If they don't refund everyone's money, and I honestly wouldn't hold my breath for that to happen. But if they don't, that's when it goes legal. So they have a protracted amount of time, which I believe is 3 months from October, to make it right, or they can face criminal charges. And unfortunately, if you're listening, if you're an ex Carrot Bars GS Partners fluffer, pay attention to what I'm about to say. When Joseph Haidt refuses to pay or is not able to pay, if that happens, they're going to pursue this criminally. Unfortunately, they already know who was involved in pushing Karatbar's GS Partners. They already know. You're already on the radar. I showed you this before. And who's going to be more accessible? You in your house or apartment in Georgia or Texas or somewhere else in the US that left a trail of internet signatures, or, you know what I'm saying, the footprints, or somebody who's out the country and that's 100 millionaire, possibly billionaire, that could avoid these types of things by moving around and staying hunkered down somewhere. No, the ones that are going to be vulnerable are going to be you, the Lucky Ricos, the Mike Dalcos, the ones that were marketing affiliates. You're going to be most vulnerable. This is what happened with every big crypto scheme that has been taken down. So, there's that. What else we doing here? Let me see here. Claims journal. Let's go to this one. Or maybe we should go ahead and get to, before we get to this. Hold on. Let's go ahead and randomly. Let's check out some of the other videos that I got from Odysee. So like I said, you can actually, I do have a channel. My CryptTalk podcast is still in existence. It's just not on YouTube anymore. But here's one of the videos I did. I forgot about this one. Let me see. 1, 2. Welcome to CryptTalk podcast. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome to CryptTalk podcast, you guys. Let me see if I'm live here real quick. All right, that sounds like maybe a mistake video, but anyway. Where we at? I'm still live or what? What's going on? Oh shit, I don't know what happened there, you guys. Hold up. Bear with me, man. I'm new to all this. Just kidding. Let's go to this one. Let's go to, let's see, Mike Dalco. Where's Mike Dalco? There we go. Let's go to this one. Let's do a throwback. Now, this right here, honestly, like, unless you're not familiar with OneCoin, right? And I did this video a long time ago. Unless you're not familiar with OneCoin, there's no way you should have seen this video and it not be a red flag and a sign for you to get out of Gold Standard Bank. If you're familiar with OneCoin, this video, which I'm going to show you, should have been your cue to exit scheme. You should have exited all of your money. You should have got as far away as you could from GSP after this. Now, this is a small clippet of a private conversation with Chris Trade, hashtag Chris Trade, I believe, and Mike Dalco. And Chris Trade was asking him a question. The question was, how many multi-level marketing crypto projects have ever been successful? That was the question.
Anybody. I'm making everybody
yes, you are.
aware.
No, yes, you are.
This is where we.
No, yes,
this is where we're going to get into an argument now. But I'm not. I'm raising awareness. Again, name me one MLM company that's
you raised awareness
in the crypto space. Name me one.
Well,
he said, name me one crypto MLM that's been successful. In case you couldn't hear it, that's what he said.
I'm going to do a video.
GS Partners, Daisy.
Daisy. Okay.
All right, and the reason why they don't succeed is not because there's anything wrong with the model. The reason why OneCoin didn't succeed is because they were undercapitalized. There's nothing wrong with the business. So
he said that OneCoin and other crypto schemes only didn't succeed because they were undercapitalized. There was nothing wrong with the business, is what Mike Dalco just said. So I just happened to pull up a little something on OneCoin, the biggest cryptocurrency scam ever. Surely GS Partners was trying to dethrone them from the biggest crypto scheme ever. OneCoin is more than just a cryptocurrency scam. It has been compared to a cult because of its strong but ill-informed quasi-religious following. Does that not sound like Karatbars? Does that not sound like GSP? To a T. Ill-informed quasi-religious, and they did use religion. They did actually target churches. Once OneCoin scam is so huge, it brought in approximately 4 billion euros, 100 million in the UK alone, with people around the world getting caught up in the scam. OneCoin claimed to be a Bitcoin killer and would become the #1 cryptocurrency. Isn't that what they told you about the KCB from Carrot Bars? Isn't that what they told you about the G999? It had more utility than Ethereum. It's going to be the next Bitcoin. Didn't they tell you that? All these scams tell you that. And you can only fall for it if you don't understand Bitcoin. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. The reason why Bitcoin is around 60,000 right now is because there's only 21 million of them that will ever be created. It is a low supply, scarce, and it works. And it's truly decentralized. You could truly just get it and hold it. You don't have to go through the rigmarole of being a sign-up marketing affiliate and all that. But one thing about these coins that was created by these scams like GSPARTNERS is you don't even know what the market supply is. You don't know what the market cap is. They're not transparent enough about that. So you could never gauge how high it's going to go and what market cap would make it at whatever price, because they never give you the information to be able to do that because they're not transparent enough. But we do know that they have billions of coins in circulation. So in order for that to reach any type of level that would make you money, the market cap would have to be much higher, which they don't tell you what the market cap is. But for billions of coins, you could just do the math. If they have like 11 billion coins or whatever they had, now you do the math on what the market cap would have to be for it to get to a price that's going to make you money. And how would they get that market cap if they're not even accessible, if they're not even legally able to do business in dozens of countries around the world? If no institutional investors will touch it, and none of them will, and none of them actually even can. Picture a bank or investment company wanting to do business with G999 or GSPARTNERS when there are dozens of economic government regulators saying you can't touch this, this is a scam, cease and desist. But here we have this guy telling you that OneCoin was a great business model. Listen to him.
I know those guys. They're highly integral people. They were undercapitalized. Succeed is not because there's anything wrong with it. GSPARTNERS, Daisy.
Okay.
All right. And the reason why they don't succeed is not because there's anything wrong with the model. The reason why OneCoin didn't succeed is because they were undercapitalized. There's nothing wrong with the business.
He just said there was nothing wrong with the business. Keep in mind, he said this after OneCoin was outed as a scheme and a lot of their marketers got hemmed up and imprisoned. So this wasn't like he said this before OneCoin fell. He said this after it was well known that OneCoin was defunct because they were outed as a scheme and their top brass got indicted. But their top brass, they never went to prison. Rumored that one of them was thrown off a boat somewhere, but I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is she never went to prison, and neither did any of the top brass. I think like maybe her brother did or something. But most of the people that went to jail were those who were just marketers, who probably didn't even really make that much money relative to what wealth truly is. They may have made some tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in some cases. But most of them probably only, they probably only made as much as they would having a decent job. They probably didn't even make as much as they could have had they just invested in real projects. And he's telling you at this time, he was telling people that there's nothing wrong with the business, man. It was a good business model. They're highly integral people. I know them. I know these crypto scammers. I know the people who were part of the biggest crypto scam in history. This is what Michael Delco told you then. And there's nothing wrong with their business model. In other words, we're probably trying to duplicate that business model. They're highly integral people. Listen, if this dude is really ignorant enough to believe what he said, that's just as bad as if he's saying it deceitfully, because the effect is the same. For you, it's a detriment.
With the model, the reason why OneCoin didn't succeed is because they were undercapitalized. There's nothing wrong with the business. I know those guys. They're highly integral people.
Oh my God, that would be so funny if there weren't so many families devastated by OneCoin and the likes. I'm just saying. But that's, like I said before, look, man, like, I've been telling you this for a long time. Now let me show you this real quick. I think I'm showing now. Let me show you this. This is essentially CryptTalk podcast, right? It's now on Odysee because it's been taken off of YouTube. I just want to show you the origins of CryptTalk podcast. All right. These are the first videos I made on CryptTalk podcast. As you can tell, here's the first 4. You can see at the top. My very, very, very first video I ever made on CryptTalk podcast was called Feds IRS Interested in Crypto and More, from Andrew Yang Gang, because he was a crypto advocate that was running for president. So I'm showing you all these videos just to show you that I didn't come out the gate swinging at carrot bars. That was not my intention. I actually intended on partially using my channel to promote carrot bars, because like I said, I thought that coin was going to do something, because I was ignorant to what crypto really was, to what decentralization and what blockchain technology really was when I first became aware of who carrot bars is. So, but as you can see, my first 4, 8, 12, 16, my first 16 videos had nothing to do with carrot bars. My first video on carrot bars was this one. It's called Let's Talk About KBC, aka carrot bars. And in this video, I guess we can go ahead and maybe I'll skip around. In this video, all I was really doing was just asking questions. I was just trying to get some awareness out. Maybe some people would see the video that can tell me a little bit more. And this is the video that Lucky Rico was talking about that he hit me up on. Now they archived my videos, but they didn't archive the views, the likes, or the comments. Right. So this is the video that Lucky Rico was talking about when he hit me up on my channel saying, hey, let's talk this and that. And I was like, nah, that's okay, because I already know what you're trying to do. This is the video he was talking about. And then when I get it up to where I need it to be, then, send a few hundred back. And, I'm not rich or anything like that, but it's just a steady way for me to have an ecosystem of cryptocurrency circulating, making me money, even no matter how the market's going.
A new project arise, they are always challenged. You know this. Me and my team are working very hard on this. I have my focus on this project. I go straight. For me, it's important that you are successful, because, ladies and gentlemen, more important is that we give the people in the whole world the opportunity to have a better life. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best.
Okay, so before I go on to a couple more videos I want to play regarding these carrot bars, these KBC and KCBs and whatever else they call them, let's check something out here. So this is Coinbase. Now let me just say this, because like I said, one of the reasons why when I did get some KCB, actually I ended up getting KCB instead of KBC, because it was so hard to get the KBC even on the website and this and that. So I was able to do it by using Bitcoin on the web. Anyway, it was a big mess. But like I said, at the time they were 2 cents. And I remember the KBC was 2 cents, the KCB was 12 cents. So right now I was just explaining like how I had to go to their decentralized quote unquote exchange in order to trade some Bitcoin and later some Ethereum to get the KCB, because I thought they were going to merge and become, they're going to make me rich. Of course, that never happened because they both ended up being defunct. But anyway, but what you were just watching was Harold Seiss, excuse me, when he was just explaining why nothing was going right. This was 5 years ago, nearly. This was 5 years ago. Where they had a convention in July where they were in Las Vegas, and they had a lot of people saying that trading in their KBC or KCB for gold, and this was the whole thing. It's going to be backed by gold, and then it's going to merge in December. So I'm thinking, yo, I need to get as many of these as I can. This was last year, about a year ago. I need to get as many of these things as I can. That way, when they get backed by gold, well, hell, if Bitcoin is worth whatever, and it's not backed by gold, then this should be worth a lot more. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to make me, I'm going to be balling. And the highest I've ever seen these KBCs get was 12 cents, but they ended up closing, I think, at 6 cents. And this was in July when they did the whole traded in for gold thing they're doing. But this is what it's worth right now, in case you can't tell. Not $1, not 10 cents, not 1 cent, but less than half a cent is what they're worth. So if you really believe that this is going to be something, right now would be the time to even get more of them. Because if he's telling the truth in 2 years and it's really working out, hell, if you get them at half a cent and they end up just being worth 10 cents, wow, that's 20 times, that's 20-fold your money. I just wouldn't hold my breath for that. I know that, and of course that never happened. Let me fast forward. Let me see what else I got on this one. I haven't seen these videos for a long time. Okay. This is actually their event where they were saying they're doing the grand opening of their bank. This was supposedly, I believe, the grand opening of their bank. I want to say it was supposed to be in Florida, Miami, Florida. Yeah, they had the KBC gold buyback thing was in Vegas, but then they had this thing in Florida where they said they're in Miami where they said they're opening their crypto bank, the first in the world crypto banks. Now, of course, like back then, a lot of people didn't understand it. This is when I first started to understand it because I started knowing about crypto. But you could even just retroactively from this day, point to me a brick and mortar crypto bank, please. Show me where there's a crypto bank established in the United States or anywhere in the world for that matter. And if you can't point to one, there's a good reason. That reason is it doesn't make sense. The whole very nature and principle of crypto is designed so you don't need a bank. And what would a brick and mortar bank do with cryptocurrency that you can't do? You can't physically go and take it out. Like, yeah, go ahead and put that crypto in a bag for me. I'm supposed to put it under my mattress. You can't deposit your crypto like that. You could just do that. So that's why there's no such thing as a crypto bank, unless you want to call an exchange a bank, but that's virtual as well. There's no brick and mortar crypto bank because that is an oxymoron. Broader community of cryptocurrencies that already exist. This is just my common sense, and this is just me thinking, not being the smartest guy in the world. This is just common sense things that I think about. Now, like I said, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. And in 2 years, these coins could be the next thing, and I could be totally speculating to a point to where I'm looking like an ass 2 years from now. But in reality, I won't, because I do own some of these coins. I just feel like everything is not adding up, and this is me from 2019, you know. And the reason why I have to let this be known is because, like I said, we should preserve the integrity of the crypto/blockchain community, because what the potential is for this and the use cases worldwide and the what could be done with these cryptocurrencies and the way it could actually revolutionize and change the world in a positive way that gives more people access to wealth, access to finances, access to things. In some places in the world, cryptocurrency could be the difference between if somebody eats or not. So on that point, like I said, I'm just going to show you some videos. I'm going to show you some clips here and there from some videos I did years ago, just so you can see that I called this out. I'm not new to this. This is my second channel because the first one was taken down for exposing these guys. But let me say this, just not to excuse any of these scammers, but I noticed right there, I said it could be the difference between if people eat or not. And that's a fact. In some places, some countries, some places in the world, being able to maneuver with cryptocurrency is to be able to sustain themselves, because there may be nothing else that they have access to that they could actually use as a leverage against their super duper hyperinflated money, blah, blah, blah. So in that same realm, I'll say this. I can give you a pass, or at least I'm sympathetic to those who, like, if you're living somewhere in this world where literally you don't have access to running water or electricity, or, you know what I'm saying, you're really in real bad times where starvation is a real thing. Poverty is just, you're just overrun by so much poverty that there may not literally be any hope for you. If you're in conditions like that, and this is what you had to do to survive, I can almost give you a pass because it's survival. It's like what you thought you had to do was do or die type of situation. I can understand that a little bit. Like, if that's your situation and you could do that, or you could harm someone, I would rather you, okay, shenanigans, fine. And most likely you're not going to be so successful that you're going to really hurt a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying, the way that a Joseph Haidt, Harold Seiss has. But if you're part of the machine, you're part of the machine. But I get it if you really didn't know where your next meal was coming from, or if running water was a challenge, electricity was a challenge, food was a challenge, medical was a challenge. I get it. If that's what you felt you had to do. Listen, there was times in my life where I did things that weren't of highest integrity. I did things that were, I didn't scam people, but I participated in, you know, business, entrepreneurship, if you will, that weren't necessarily legal in my jurisdiction. I have done that. I paid the price for it and I learned from it, but I have done it. And I wasn't in dire, I'm going to starve type of thing. It was just like, to me, the only way I could really see myself being an entrepreneur at a young age as a teenager, without going through the red tape and rigmarole of things I didn't understand, regulation, licensing, and stuff like that. And I didn't have the capital to do a legitimate brick and mortar type. I just didn't. I didn't have the know-how. I didn't have the capital. I just knew I had that spirit of wanting to have my own business. So I got involved in some things that were not necessarily legit. And I'm not giving myself a pass. Like I said, I paid the price for that. And I didn't rip people off. So I'm just saying, because I have done things that I, maybe not necessarily proud of, that weren't legal, maybe even immoral, I understand if you really had no other choice, if you really didn't see a way for you to sustain you and your family without going outside of the lines of law, I can almost give you a pass. But most people in America, the lucky ricos or whatnot, you're not doing that bad. And you know better. A lot of people, they knew better and didn't have to. And they did this knowingly. They knowingly ripped off people. And it wasn't a situation where this is the only way they could survive. We're in America. Poor people in America have brand new iPhones and new Kias. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be poor in America and drive a 2020 Kia and have an iPhone. And you never have to worry about not eating. So I'm just saying, And these are the kind of use cases I think of, because I think with a business mind, because I do different things and projects, things that are, it takes the heart to be able to stand on your own to say, hey, I want to put my money into this because I believe in this, or I want to try this project. I want to do some entrepreneurial maneuvers. I want to do some things that depend on my performance and my intelligence. So I look into different stories, like what's going on in Kenya and Ethiopia, and why they're starting to utilize blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and what's going on in the Philippines and some of these other countries, and why they're utilizing and how they're utilizing cryptocurrency. When I see that because of the underbanking worldwide, a lot of people are underbanked, from the United States to different countries in Africa to South America to Asia to even some parts of Europe and all over the world. People are underbanked. They can't afford banks because they can't even afford, the fees and the cost that's associated with banks. So that's why I know, like a Ethiopia or a Kenya, for instance, when they say that they're doing business with blockchain and crypto, I understand, because as someone who's purchased things from there, I understand how much the shipping is. I understand how many different middleman fees will get in the way before the person who you're actually trying to pay for a product or service actually gets it. And I understand how if they just had a Bitcoin wallet, then it would be a lot more convenient. They'd be able to keep a lot more of their profit. Therefore, they'd be able to actually do business even on smaller scales to sell coffee to smaller coffee merchants without all the extra fees, and they could do business a little bit better. So I have to compare these kind of real world knowledge and experience to what is being said. So they said they're going to be coming out with a bank, and then when I looked at as many videos as I can that they're saying the bank is open, here it is. What I noticed is it didn't look like a bank. What it looked like was a cone that they put some signs in front of the street and then just said it's a bank. But I didn't notice anything that looked like a bank, including this very video right here. And then I looked online. I tried to find them, like, oh, crypto bank, it's open by now. It should be in there. Look all over Miami. Look, couldn't find anything. So, and then here's the story right here. I haven't watched this, so I don't know what they're gonna be saying, but I could tell what the theme of it is, but let's just see. This way can
also bring special license in this bank. You must know that bank is a private bank before, and they has no accounts before, because I think the transaction for the money is very difficult sometimes, that you move the money to Europe in the banks, and some banks they say, oh, I don't deliver the money to Canada, and I bring here the solution for you. And
all right, so maybe I'm just not fully understanding this. I mean, I don't know. I would advise anybody that's really curious or really want to verify one way or the other. There's a number right there on the screen. But when they say that it's hard to make these transactions, like there's nothing really difficult about blockchain cryptocurrency transactions. I mean, like I don't know what the purpose of their bank is. Maybe from that bank you can access money from your crypto that you have. You can access US dollars for it or trade it for other dollars, or maybe you can purchase the KBC, whatever the purpose of the bank is. As far as transactions are concerned, if you want to transact, send some, well, I guess it does work on the blockchain because they do have wallets for the KBC. But, from the other video he showed, he did say, hey, a lot of scams, stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, like, too many people hollering scam. Perhaps there's some validity to it. This video was from Truth Teller, July 11th, 2019. This is one of the videos I used from my very first Karatbars video, showing you this was supposedly the bank. This is him explaining things to people who don't understand it, and he doesn't really understand it either. This is just a big ploy. This was nothing more than optics, smoke and mirrors, as they were perpetrating like they owned a crypto bank. But now in retrospect, you can ask yourself, is there a such thing as a crypto bank, a brick and mortar crypto bank? Like you're telling me now it's 2025 nearly, and no crypto company has thought it viable to have a brick and mortar crypto bank? I know in retrospect now you can see, yeah, clearly this was a fraud, but this is what I was telling you 5 years ago. It just didn't add up. This is before I really even knew too much about blockchain. I have certificates for my understanding of blockchain fundamentals today. Then I didn't, but I still, just from the knowledge that I did get, just from studying this stuff on my own, I still came with the conclusion that Karatbars there's something funny, something suspicious was going on. But anyway, let's go to another video, man. Like I said, this is gonna be a long video. I know we've been on here almost 2 hours. We're gonna just go ahead and skim through. We're just gonna skim through a few videos, man, just to show you. Like I said, I'll put the link in because I didn't just cover Karatbars related materials. I also did cover stories that were going on with the development and innovation, partnerships and whatnot that was going on in the crypto community as well. But let's see. So welcome to CryptTalk Podcast. This is going to be one of the videos that's going to go into the Surviving Karatbars playlist. If you're new to CryptTalk Podcast and you happen to be affiliated with Gold Standard Bank or the G999 in any way, I suggest you watch this whole video. I suggest you check out the Surviving Karatbars playlist. I suggest you check out Grit Grind Gold YouTube channel if you're not already familiar. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you enough to get you started to understand that what you're involved in will not gain wealth for you or for people who you recruit. And that is pretty much coming to an end. And I'm going to show you enough in case you're actually sincerely believing in the Kool-Aid that has been served to you. I'm going to show you enough to jump off of that train. And I'm also going to request. This is from October 2021. Advise that you check out some of the crypto news playlists as well. You see, what I've been doing here, I'm gonna skip ahead, but let me just say this for the very new people. People are still pretty new to crypto. Like I said before, like I said in this video back then, what you want to pay attention to is what's really going on in the world of crypto. What you want to do, I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I want you to study Bitcoin first. Once you understand Bitcoin, all the other coins you'll be able to assess better. Once you understand Bitcoin, decentralized finance, even if you want to take a chance with some of these new projects and low market cap projects, not the MLMs, but the new projects that you think, because you've assessed that what they're doing is going to become popular and it's going to be full of utility and people are going to really buy into this coin. If you feel like you found that, you won't be able to access that unless you know how to deal with decentralized wallets and decentralized exchanges, because you're not going to be able to get them from Coinbase and Kraken and Binance when they're brand new projects. They typically aren't listening to the worth several hundred million, which isn't that much really for a good crypto if you really feel like it has potential, or $1 billion or more. If you want to get a crypto token that's only worth 50 million and you think it's going to go to 50, or that's only worth 50 million, and you think it's going to go up to 5 billion, which would be like was that 100x or 1000x, whatever. You think it's really going to make some real numbers? You're going to have to get it from a decentralized exchange, which you're not going to know how to do if you're new. So the first thing you need to do, if you want to consider cryptocurrency as an option to increase your wealth, the first thing you want to learn about is Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm saying that's the first thing you want to know about. With that information, with enough studying of Bitcoin, you'll familiarize yourself enough with blockchain, decentralized finance, decentralized wallets in exchanges, and different protocols, and you'll be able to maneuver through the world of crypto. Let me skip forward though. Let's see what else is on here. Regarding the establishment of $100 million investment fund focused on supporting blockchain-based projects and development. Oh yeah, another thing. That's what I was going to say. And also, what you want to do is you want to pay attention to the news that's going on. You want unbiased news. You don't want the moon boy stuff. This coin's going to go to 1,000%. You don't want to hear it. You don't want that. You want to tune out from that. Focus on real stories. This is what CryptTalk podcast mainly was about. Yes, I did take time to expose Karatbars because they did, run game on me. I almost fell for it. I lost a few $100 in it because I wised up soon enough to not, and I did my own due diligence to where it didn't make sense. What you want to focus on is learning about Bitcoin, learn about blockchain, and pay attention to the stories that are unreported, because I'm not giving investment advice, but things that I've learned from very successful investors, or when you want to invest in something that you think is really going to be lucrative, you want to invest in something that is necessary, but very few understand it. That means you're early in it. I mean, if people don't understand it yet, but it's something that is necessary, that means over time, people are going to understand it. They're going to utilize it. They're going to, it has a bigger chance of being a thing. People don't really understand Bitcoin, really, or crypto. And that's why people get ripped off a lot. So you want to pay attention to the stories, find out what companies are doing developments, and understand this golden rule. There are tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies out there right now in existence. And please don't think that I'm exaggerating when I say this number. Out of the tens and thousands of cryptocurrencies in existence now, 99% of them are garbage. I would even say 99.9. Literally 99.9% of them are trash. They're pumps and dumps. They're garbage. Trash. Basura. 99.9%. I promise you that. 99.9% of them are trash. Does that mean they can't make money? No. You can make money off these trash coins if you know how. But if you're new to crypto, you don't know how. You gotta just go ahead and observe and you know, acknowledge that truth. Yes, you can make money in a bull cycle, especially from all kind of garbage coins, if you know how to acquire them. Which, if they're really off of the centralized exchanges, you probably won't be able to know how to acquire them unless you have some know-how. Then you have to time it. But I'm just saying, overall, they're still garbage coins. Dogecoin is still garbage. It made some people money. Shiba Inu is garbage. It made some people money. The ones who knew about Shiba Inu before it listed on Coinbase and they knew how to trade for it way back then, sure. But for the rest of the people, it's a detriment that they're still holding on with hope. If you go into any of these crypto groups and Facebook and you see these guys holding their Shiba Inu, praying to God that it goes to $1, which is impossible because they don't understand the tokenomics and market cap of why Shiba Inu will never be $1. And they also don't understand why it doesn't even have to reach $1 for you to make a lot of money, because there's so many of the coins. It's never going to reach $1. The market cap would have to exceed the amount of money in circulation in the world for Shiba Inu to ever be worth $1. It's not going to happen. Can it possibly be worth 1 penny at one point? Maybe if they burn a shit ton of their coins. And then if the demand for those coins quadruples and 10x's and gets to a point, then maybe it could be worth a cent. But if you're still holding Shiba Inu from way back then, you better just hope it gets back to the market cap, to a market cap that will allow you to even break even. So what I'm saying is, yes, it is possible to make money off some of these shit coins, but 99% of them are garbage. And for you to make money, you have to have know-how. And it's not even probable. Let's be real. It's not. Now, there are a few dozen that are serious projects. Some of them will succeed. Some of them won't. So I'm saying, out of the tens of thousands of coins, really, if you're thinking like long-term, you want to hold something, you really think it's going to work out even after the bull run and it's going to really have development, there's only a few dozen of those outside of stable coins, which have a different purpose. Yeah, the polygons, they got some things going on. They have some partnerships and some developments that can help with the real world use case. Ethereum, of course, Tezos, the chain links, it's an Oracle. It's necessary. Stacks is a second layer for Bitcoin for NFTs and decentralized finance on the Bitcoin blockchain. Yeah, that. And even when I'm telling you these coins, it doesn't mean that they're guaranteed. I'm just saying that they actually have real things that they're trying to do that could be lucrative. That they at least they're legitimate projects. Doesn't mean they're guaranteed to succeed. So understand that. Told you that the G999 blockchain had. Let me just go through maybe one more before I shut this thing down, because it's been almost 2 hours. Now I don't want to be too long on here. I mean, I could always go through some of these later, right? Okay, let me see what this one is. This is from 2021 August. This one is called Team Block Stars. John Johnson wants to smell your feet. This is just displaying the character. I was kind of clowning on this one, maybe in bad taste at some points, but this is one of their GSP partners, pumpers, fluffers, who he got caught up in being sued for sexual harassment of feet of women at his business. But look at this right here, though. It says 1 million G999 multiplied by $1,000 per coin, you are a billionaire. So the idea, and I just wanted to show this, what they were saying is, hey, if you have 1 million G999 and it gets to $1,000, you are a billionaire, because 1 million times 1,000 is a billion. So they were speculating that this coin that never surpassed 5 cents would one day be worth $1,000, which is ridiculous in itself. But okay. 999 and plug it into their ecosystem, but you don't see that. You will not see that, because a lot of the market that they would rely on that won't even touch G999 because they can't, because it would be illegal, because they're flagged in several different countries. No one outside of their cult is going to touch this project. Think about it. You have a company that has known scammers, professional scam artists, sexual predators. Remember this guy? He had a lot of smoke for Chris. Remember that? A lot of smoke for Chris. This is John Johnson, Team Blockstar, right? Team Blockstars. This is one of the leading groups. But here's this guy again. Yeah, this guy has a foot fetish, been taken to court for basically molesting feet. Look at this. 2 women who worked at the Massage Envy franchise claimed their boss offered them money to smell their feet. One claims that after he forcefully grabbed her feet and took off her shoes, he sniffed them in a lustful manner. The other woman claims franchise owner John Johnson, that's this guy, offered her up to $30,000 per month and a BMW if she would let him do it. So look, his personal shenanigans, I'm not going to play any more of this video. His personal shenanigans doesn't indicate that, you know what I mean, GSP was a scam, even though now we know it was. I'm just saying this is the character of those who they had promoting for him. Like Carol Seiss himself, or Joseph Haidt himself, was implicated in sex trafficking, even of minors, and other exploitative, forceful mannerisms of procuring women sexually. You know what I'm saying? Him and his buddy, what was that guy's name? Alex Bodie, both caught up on indictments internationally for trafficking and prostitution rings and other things that, like, to me, it's just like, listen, like, I get it. One of my heroes is Malcolm X. At one point, Malcolm X was a pimp. He was this drug dealer. He robbed. He did numbers. He did all kind of crazy shit before he went to the pen and had an awakening and started getting on respectable activities. So it's not that you can't better yourself or learn from you or anything like that. But when you have a bunch of unresolved things and this seems to be your lifestyle, you should at least take that in consideration when they're pitching you on something to make money. You should at least some kind of red flag should go off in your head where you think, is this legit? Are these people really of integrity that should be giving me advice on financial wealth and generational wealth? Is it possible that maybe if they'll also do this weird stuff, that maybe they would also participate in ripping people off? Especially because there was never really a time where you could have Googled Carrot Bars or GSB and you wouldn't have seen the first 10 pages of people reporting them as a scam. So, I was just showing you the character, especially because he attacked my character and he attacked Chris's character. I was just showing you, like, hey, this is what this dude is into, by the way. Here's another guy. This guy is Owen Millet. This dude is in the Caribbean somewhere. Now, he made a slew of videos talking trash about CryptTalk podcast and 24 Karat Chris as he was pumping Gold Standard Bank, Gold Standard Partners, GSP. Let me just skip the 9 minutes. Let's just see what I was saying here. Right? Like the bank director from Goldman Sachs, for instance, who even came out with a report right after that SNL pump, right? After Elon went to SNL and Mark Cuban went to the Ellen show. And I told you even then, like, yo, there's going to be a massive dump. Make sure you don't hold that thinking it's about to skyrocket to $1 and $3 and all that crazy stuff. I even got in that pump. Right here, I'm talking about the Dogecoin pump. Dumped it at 68 cents. A lot of people held on to that coin, and now it might be at 21 cents now. right? But when you have a majority of the coins or a large percentage of the coins owned by a few wallets, that's what happens. So the KBC had 93% ownership by one wallet. That means it doesn't matter what everyone else does. They'll never be able to put enough money in to really pump that coin. Only they can. But when you do, they're going to dump it. And that's what's been happening. I've told you about pump and dumps several times and even predicted pump and dumps very accurately. So, that's that.
And says, oh, yeah, I want you to hold the coin for 3 years. No, it's something totally different. This is the clear example as to why I've been saying that this is what is going to set the entire project back, right? In regards to the G999. And I told you, if this company has not honored its promise or obligation of the GSB, which coin, which is the GSB, to be released. And so, because some of us are smart and savvy, we're waiting for that to be released before we, quote unquote, invest or diverse or
Anyway, this video was just when this guy was looking like he was starting to see light. So I remember when I did this video. This is after he attacked me for several weeks. And then later on, a light must have went off in his head, like, hey, something ain't right. I'm losing money. And then he started kind of questioning shit before he went back to pumping them, to fluffing them again. And then he moved to Mindbase as another scam that was created by Harold Seiss. Let's see what else we got, man. I just want to go through, maybe show one more before I close this in. Okay, here's where Carrot Bars pretty much stole the idea that I said about they should make a stable coin out of their KCB. Let me just show you this real quick. Listen, I'm going to give Carrot Bars KBC some free game, but if they made that a stable coin, if they came out with a stable coin, that could work. I'm pretty sure that when they told you that it's going to be, when they said it's going to be 100 per gram or 75 per gram, they were basing that on the fact that they thought that they were going to be able to get the coin to at least $1 and hold it there. You know what I'm saying? That would make sense, because that wouldn't be something so ridiculous that they would take a loss and it would still hold the value that you could actually get gold from.
Yeah.
It would be workable.
Yeah.
So if they came out as a stable coin and they truly had it backed by gold, they would be able to do the same thing. You see how that works? 2 weeks later. So that was me, Chris, 24 Karat Chris, and a guy who had a credit business, Credit Express, who was also an affiliate. And that was us talking. I was just saying, like, basically, like, if they wanted to pull something off, they could make a stable coin out of their case. Well, they can't make one out of their KCB, but they can create a stable coin and try to peg that to gold in some type of way. But they'd have to prove ownership of the gold, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, they're talking about that. That's exactly what they're gonna do. Crazy how that works. I'm not even gonna show these videos. I'm just gonna show you. This is Carrot Bar's satellite launch. This is when they said that they were partnered with SpaceX and they're gonna launch a satellite. But what they did is they launched some type of hot air balloon that they tied one of their phones to. It was like some crazy low budget. Like, what's really going on? Like Desperado. They were Desperado with this one. It was crazy. Like I said, I'll leave the link to the original CryptTalk podcast. And then I'll just let you see this one, and then I'm out. All right. I can't remember what this one is, actually.
Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize.
Never mind, that wasn't some other shit right there. And that's it, man. I think I'm not gonna go too much into this. I don't want to make this too long of a video. So we're already at like 2 hours. So you seen what it is, man. Make sure you let people know, like, subscribe if you haven't already. In the future, we're going to be going a lot deeper, with some of the, CryptTalk Nation. And we're going to let you know what's going on with some of the things behind the scenes that has been happening that led to the fact that, 5 U.S. states have reached settlement with GS Partners. Like I said, those who supported the channel, CryptTalk Podcast, those who participated in some of the discussions on CryptTalk Podcast, and those who have their own platforms that were exposing this should all be patting yourself on the back. You should actually take pride that your participation, because this would not have happened without you. Believe me, this would not have happened without all of us participating, pushing the issue, putting pressure on the situation and exposing this. Wouldn't have happened organically. The only thing that really, and it almost still didn't happen. If they were wise enough, I don't want to give any ideas to these scammers, but if they were wise enough to exit scam and leave it alone and disappear, they would probably be good right now. But they weren't, because they got greedy. They got greedy because they got arrogant. They got arrogant because it was working and they thought that it would never end. And they underestimated us. So now we're at the point, years later, where 5 U.S. states have reached a settlement with GS Partners. They have conceded that they have been fraudulently practicing business. And to avoid criminal charges, they have agreed to pay back the U.S. investors. Now, we'll see if they do that or not. They do have a protracted time to do so before it turns criminal. So they can make it right as they can, because really, like, even if they paid you all the money that you put up, they're not going to compensate you for what you should have made if they were legit, or what you could have made putting it somewhere else legitimate, even if it was the S&P 500 or something. So whatever you actually lost, you can compound that. You can roll that over a few times and say potentially that's what you should have made or could have made had you, But anyway, this would have never happened anyway if it wasn't for you, us, we. So we're going to get into some of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I will put the link in if you want to just go back and look through the archives of CryptTalk Podcast. You could do that just so you could kind of like check my resume. Make sure I'm not just some talking head babbling off bullshit. Or you can see if I've been pretty accurate what I've been saying. See, a lot of them, they closed their channels. They scrubbed their channels. A lot of their affiliates that were pushing these Ponzi schemes on you, what they did is they scrubbed their channels, Lucky Rico included, of anything Carrot Bars, KBC related. Owen Mellits, the John Johnsons, all these guys, Brian McGinty, they scrubbed their channels of things that would, associate them with the Ponzi scheme that now is clearly a Ponzi scheme. And then they rebranded themselves as crypto news reporters or investment, whatever, coaches and shit. But why would you believe somebody? Why would you trust somebody if they couldn't see the red flags of a Carrot Bars GSB, even if they're legitimately weren't trying to rip people off? If you fell for that scheme for that long and you were that detrimental to that many people, why would you even have the balls to think that you can now rebrand yourself as some kind of investing expert or coach. And why would you be foolish enough to go along with that? I'm just saying. Anyway, CryptTalk Podcast, Blockchain Crypto Gang. Make sure you subscribe, you like. You can also follow on Twitter at CryptTalkP if you like. Stay tuned for more developments that we're going to get into. Okay, let me see real quick. All right, since we do got some people, we got a couple of comments I want to go ahead and acknowledge. One of them is from Gareth G. It says, "Nice. Long story short, what are the chances they won't do a Peter, Rob, Paul to pay author?" I mean, that's pretty much what they have been doing in essence, except for the fact that they haven't paid anybody back. They're robbing Peter, Paul, Danny, Melissa, Michelle. They're robbing Malik. You know what I'm saying? Olive. I mean, they're international with it. And at this point, they haven't paid back anything. That's the whole thing. They've had, like, let's remember, Carrot Bars had several scams. How many of y'all remember when they had the K1 Impulse phone? Like, I'm gonna go through my archives and bring you out, sporadically different things just so you'll remember from my CryptTalk podcast, now defunct channel, but I still have it backed on Odysee. I'm gonna show you these things that they have been doing over the years. They had the K1 Impulse phone that they sold for like €1,000 or something like that. $1,000 phone, but it was trash. It didn't even work. You couldn't upload apps. They claimed that it had a hard wallet on it, similar to like a Ledger or something, but it wasn't. They didn't have that. It was really a flash drive, and you can't hold crypto on flash drive. It doesn't work like that. The phone was trash. Then they came out with a computer. Remember the laptop? What was the laptop called? I forgot what the laptop was called, but that was like a few thousand. That shit was trash. I even had a tech expert come on CryptTalk podcast and go over the specs of the phone and the laptop, and he concluded like what the value of the laptop should be reasonably with the specs that it has, and it was like $300, but they were selling it for $3,000. We went into the phone, all that. Chris bought 2 of the phones. He showed you how trash they were. They just had scam after scam. They did remember they did the pizza day, GSB pizza day, where they went in and ripped off a bunch of owners of pizza shops by telling them that they're going to give them 10,000 of their shitty coin that was worth like a quarter of a penny for 2 pizzas. And most of that was just props. They were just bullshitting. But the ones that they really did convince in doing that were pissed off afterwards when they realized it was bullshit. Excuse the language. Watches, cars, property, phones. They have made promises on all sorts of shit. Yes. They told you that they're going to let you tokenize the J1 building per square inch. You can buy square inches of the J1 building. And like I said, the only reason why people didn't understand, or let me say it like this. Am I even still on? Hold up, man. Shouldn't have connectivity problems. Anyway, like I was saying, like even when they were saying they're going to tokenize the J1 building, they never explained how you would make money off of it. That was a red flag to me. Mostly because, first of all, I knew that they didn't really own the J1 building to be, and that's public information who owns it. Like that's number one. You can't tokenize something you don't own. And they don't own the J1 building. That's like the easiest thing to verify, really. That's number one. But really, let's pretend that it was real. How would they not be able to tell you how you're going to make money off of that and with details? Because I don't think they even had a feasible way to even explain it, let alone it was never really going to happen or never, you know what I'm saying? It was a scam from the get-go. But anyway, yeah, there's that. They're running a bot, is what he says. They're running a bot, use it to bullshit everyone into thinking I think the coin was climbing. I think he meant coin was climbing. Yeah, no doubt. They had trading bots. They had a algorithmic, automatic, and I've showed that before on CryptTalk podcast years ago. because the pumps would be almost like exactly the same at the exact same time every day. It would spike, it would go down. It would be mimicking, what do you call that? Volume. It would mimic volume, so people would think things were going on, and you could, that helps with, making the price artificially pump up. So it'd get people excited. Oh gosh, we can get in. No. And I showed you guys this was a bot. That's what they were doing. That was like at the end before it totally crashed. Before it totally went insolvent, and they probably just stopped running nodes as they cashed out. Once you stop running the nodes, you can't transact in the coin anymore. It's a dead project. And eventually that's exactly what they did. Before that, they would do every kind of scheme they could. Hey, we got this event going on. If you do this and that, people get excited. They buy the coin. If you tried to cash out, you wouldn't be able to because they would block you from doing so, but they would damn sure liquidate the coin. Because like I showed you with proof, 93% of that KBC, and this is the same for the G999. Actually, I don't know the exact percentage on the G999, but a vast majority of that coin was owned by one wallet, which you could assume is somebody in the top brass, like Joseph Haidt, or in the case of Karat Bars, Harold Seiss. They own 90% of the coin. So however much money you put in, they can liquidate the coins and still have plenty of coins for the next run of liquidation. So no one made money off of those coins during the epic bull run that we seen in 2020-21. Anyway, I don't want to get in. I want to go to, sorry, been 2 hours, man. But hey, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, man, we're going to be continuing this series of what I called Surviving Karat Bars. And we're going to go ahead and document this historic situation. And we're going to hopefully help people. Let me just show you this real quick before I get up out of here. Thought I had it. Oh, there we go. Bam. Let me show you this. I'm going to put this link in the tab. So what this is right here is for those who are in states that weren't named in that claim. All you have to do is push the state you're in, and then it will direct you to the officials that you contact. That way your state could be included. So you have like a month or so to do that. So people, you want to do that if you're in a state, or even if you're in Canada. And I heard Mexico too. I mean, there's a link to Mexico, so I'm assuming Mexico looks like Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico as well. So any of these places, Guam even, if your state's not already participating in this claim against Gold Standard Bank, then you can be. All right. So more on that later. Thanks for watching, y'all. Like, subscribe, comment on the good stuff. Peace.